You don't need to make Gervonta Davis against the guy who pumps my gas, and just because you need him to keep manufacturing the star continuously. Like Gervonta is a very good fighter.
I mean, if he want to retire with the career that he got, then go ahead and do whatever you got to do. So I disagree with it. I think it's soft.
One, Gervonta Tank Davis has been facing heavy criticism recently due to some decisions that have not only negatively affected his career, but also the sport of boxing itself. Many professionals in the boxing community believe that Davis, despite his considerable talent, may ultimately become just another ordinary fighter if he continues making poor choices and acting recklessly. Some suggest that Davis seems comfortable with mediocrity, which could be a key factor in his potential downfall as a boxer.
The Gervonta Davis fight with Lamont Roach. Lamont's a good fighter. He's a perennial contender. He's been a contender for his whole career. I think he's been pro for about a decade. I can remember him all the way back in his Golden Boy days. Was, solid perennial contender. Always came up just a little short.
The past few weeks have been chaotic for Gervonta Davis. He shocked fans in early December 2024 by announcing his retirement from boxing, followed by confusing statements about his upcoming fight with Lamont Roach Jr. last week. He even got into a heated exchange with Terrence Crawford on social media. Davis is scheduled to face Roach on March 1st at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York, to defend his WBA lightweight title. As of now, there's been no official word on any changes to this fight date. Tank Davis has hinted that he might announce his next opponent, and it seems likely that it will be a rematch with Ryan Garcia, who will return on April 20th after serving a one-year suspension for testing positive for Austrian during his fight against Devin Haney.
You still think that fight's possible? I know he might have a break after that fight with Lamont Roach, but do you feel like you guys could fight 2025 or 2026?
Davis goes through with his plans to retire after 3 fights in 2025. He will have 2 more spots to fill. One of those spots could be a fight against Ryan Garcia, who is a former weight world champion and has criticized Davis for his choice of opponents. Tank Davis is renowned for his explosive power, speed, and knockout ability, making him one of the most thrilling fighters in boxing. He became one of the youngest champions in the sport at just 22, and has held titles in the super featherweight, lightweight, and super lightweight divisions. Davis has secured significant wins over fighters like Leo Santa Cruz, Mario Barros, Rolando Romero, and Ryan Garcia. As of 2025, he remains undefeated but hasn't been particularly active. His most recent victory was over Frank Martin in June 2024. Fans are eager for him to engage in more high-profile matchups against top fighters, including a potential unification bout with Shakur Stevenson or Vasyl Lomachenko.
And also very experienced at this point now. He's fought and seen pretty much every style there is, and this power.
An interview with Fight Hype, Paulie Malignaggi expressed his disappointment over Davis's decision to face what he considers easier opponents, but it was announced that Davis would fight Lamont Roach, a super featherweight champion moving up to challenge him in March. Malignaggi criticized the choice. He remarked that if Roach had made several successful defenses at 135 pounds, it might have been more intriguing, but instead, Davis is simply recycling past champions without progressing the sport. Malignaggi believes that such decisions hurt the sport of boxing and deprive fans of the best matchups, even if they generate pay-per-view sales.
Python is a dangerous animal, and I gotta see a python take on an alligator. I'll say, okay, well, why do I gotta watch a python taking on a turkey or a rooster or a chicken? Why do I gotta watch that? I already know what's gonna happen. You know what I mean? That's a slaughter, right?
While the main event in Brooklyn may not appeal to all fans, the undercard for this event is more exciting. The World Boxing Association's super lightweight champion, Jose Valenzuela, will defend his title against Gary Anshu Russell, while World Boxing Council super lightweight champion Alberto Puello will face Sander Martin. Meanwhile, Davis has announced that he plans to retire by the end of 2025, and both fans and Malignaggi hope that he can make the most of his final year in the sport. Interestingly, World Boxing Council lightweight champion Shakur Stevenson has recently changed his perspective on Davis's retirement plans.
You know what? You would give it a Nile River crocodile or alligator, and when I confuse alligators and crocodiles, but whatever. Give it a Nile River alligator, and
December, Gervonta Davis surprised fans by announcing his intention to retire from boxing after 2025, citing frustrations with boxing politics as a key reason. He confirmed his dissatisfaction with the sport and intends to retire after his next fight, scheduled for March 1st, 2025 at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. In this fight, Davis will defend his WBA lightweight title against Lamont. Roach Jr. originally planned for December in Houston. The fight was postponed for undisclosed reasons. This bout may serve as Davis's final opportunity to solidify his legacy in the lightweight division before stepping away from the sport.
Bro, you know, you got me interested. You're like, all right, bro, let's see who wins this. You know what I mean? It's, but, you know, obviously we're not fighting to the death in boxing, but nonetheless intrigued.
Gervonta Davis's decision to retire at the peak of his career has sent shockwaves throughout the boxing world, sparking mixed reactions. While some criticize his choice to leave during his prime, Davis remains one of the most charismatic and polarizing figures in modern boxing. Known for his aggressive fighting style and devastating knockout power, Davis has firmly established himself as one of the sport's elite. As his retirement approaches, discussions about the legacy he will leave behind are expected to dominate the boxing community in the months leading up to his final fights.
I mean, if he's willing to fight, I'm ready to fight, and I think it should happen, but I ain't gonna lie, I can't sit there and chase you and then...
Shocker Stevenson shared his thoughts on Davis's potential retirement, stating that if Davis wants to end his career the way he has chosen, then that's his decision, though he disagrees with it. In an interview with Fight Hub TV, Stevenson expressed that while he is willing to fight Davis if the opportunity arises, he won't be chasing him down. He emphasized that he doesn't need Davis and feels Davis is trying to make it seem like Stevenson is the one who needs him. If Davis retires without facing Stevenson, it would deprive the sport of one of the most eagerly anticipated lightweight matchups in recent years. Meanwhile, Stevenson is preparing for his own fight against rising star Floyd Schofield Jr. on February 22nd in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia.
No, he tried to make it seem as though I need him and I don't need him, so...
As Davis plans to wrap up his career in 2025, aiming to solidify his place as one of the best of his era. Fans are hopeful that he will deliver some of the most exciting fights of his already impressive career. Former 4-division world champion Mikey Garcia weighed in on the situation and suggested that a unification bout with Vasyl Lomachenko would be more thrilling than facing Shocker Stevenson. Garcia acknowledged Stevenson's talent, calling him a great fighter with exceptional footwork, speed, and reflexes, but he believes a fight with Lomachenko would offer more excitement.
I'll tell you why. I'm not a big fan of that fight. Now, I do believe Shakur Stevenson is a great fighter as well as skills go. He's got the skills. He's got the talent. He's got the skills. Great boxer.
10 even with praise for Stevenson, Mikey Garcia noted that he wouldn't want to see him in the ring against Davis because Stevenson is more of a technician, focused on boxing rather than engaging in an all-out brawl. Garcia expressed a preference for a fight between Davis and Lomachenko, as he believes Lomachenko would bring more of an aggressive, action-packed style to the match. Despite also being known for his excellent footwork and speed, Garcia argued that a matchup with Stevenson wouldn't provide the same level of excitement for Davis, as Stevenson tends to box at a measured pace, regardless of what fans or critics may want to see. The possibility of a fight between Davis and Lomachenko remains uncertain, especially after their planned encounter last November was...
As Shakur Stevenson is the kind of fighter that he's gonna fight his fight regardless of what the critics or fans or anybody wants to see. He's gonna fight his fight, which is fine. That's his style. He's gonna be the boxer.
Vasyl Lomachenko, a 3-division champion, currently holds a lightweight title, but has not defended it since winning it from George Kambosos Jr. In June 2023, Lomachenko missed the initial 60-day medical extension deadline that expired on January 11th, prompting the International Boxing Federation to order a bout between contenders Raymond Muratalla and Zurab Abdullayev for an interim championship. Meanwhile, Stevenson, who is preparing for his lightweight title defense against Floyd Schofield Jr. on February 22nd, has faced criticism for his passive approach in recent wins over Edwin D. Los Santos and Artem Harun. Garcia believes Stevenson will need to change his fighting style if he hopes to secure a matchup with Davis.
The talent, he's got the skills, great boxer, super talented with footwork, with speed, with reflexes, counter-punching ability. He's one of the very best. But I'm not a fan of that fight.
12 Garcia reiterated that a fight with Shocker Stevenson would not be as thrilling for Tank Davis, explaining that Stevenson's more cautious style might not generate the excitement fans want to see. He also stated that until Stevenson proves he can be a serious threat, Davis shouldn't bother with that fight. Before considering any potential matchups with Lomachenko, Stevenson, or others, Davis must first focus on his upcoming fight with Lamont Roach on January 25, 2025. Garcia believes Davis will easily handle Roach, who is moving up in weight, to challenge him at 135 pounds due to Davis's experience, skill, and knockout power. The Ring Magazine's annual awards ceremony in London saw the best of boxing's talent come together, but Gervonta Davis was notably absent. Despite announcing his retirement plans for 2025 and maintaining an unbeaten record after 30 fights with 28 knockouts, Davis was likely excluded due to his strained relationship with Riyadh Season and Sheikh Turki Alik, who owns the Ring Magazine. Davis appeared upset about not receiving an invitation, feeling slighted by the snub. After Davis was left out of the Ring Awards, he took to social media to voice his displeasure, posting and later deleting several comments about the situation. Terence Crawford took the opportunity to mock Davis, which sparked an ongoing social media dispute that continued into the following week. While the reasons for Davis's absence from the awards remain unclear, Crawford's response added fuel to the fire, creating tension between the two. The ongoing rivalry between Terence Crawford and Gervonta Davis has sparked numerous back-and-forth exchanges. Reports suggest Crawford, who recently met with Turki Alik, is edging closer to a highly anticipated showdown with Canelo Alvarez later this year. Taking a jab at Davis, Crawford mocked the lightweight champion's absence from the Ring Magazine Gala, sharing a post that read, "I see somebody mad they weren't invited to the Ring Magazine Gala. I remember being left out. That's why when they let me in, I crashed the party, accompanied by laughing emojis." This followed some deleted posts from Davis that had stirred the social media drama. To understand Crawford's mocking response, one must look back at them. While Davis later deleted his post, several publications managed to capture and report them. Davis questioned why everyone wasn't invited to the gala, adding that those who were invited seemed to be the ones the organizers worked with. He went on to mock Eddie Hearn, calling him a little rat who thought he had accomplished something. Davis then suggested that those in attendance should fight each other, criticizing Turki Alik, accusing him of lacking any real knowledge of boxing. Further post, Davis seemed to direct criticism at the head of Riyadh Season, claiming that the boxing figure is being lauded, despite not having any real understanding of the sport. Davis insinuated that this individual was not doing enough to develop fighters from his own area, questioning why he wasn't helping people from where he's from if he's so knowledgeable about boxing. These messages were also deleted. The tension continued to build between Davis and Crawford. Davis continued his rant by discussing how some fighters are willing to leave the U.S. to earn their paychecks, but they end up fighting in front of nearly empty crowds. The dispute between the two fighters escalated, especially when Davis boasted about his wealth, prompting Crawford to respond. This sparked another series of deleted posts from Davis, where he criticized Crawford's financial standing. Davis responded to Crawford, claiming, "I still make more than you. Y'all think he's chasing greatness? He's not. That's what he has to do to make decent money." He continued, boasting about his financial investments and the fact that he had no debt. He challenged Crawford, saying that there was nothing Crawford could buy that he couldn't. Crawford, in turn, continued to taunt Davis, sparking more back-and-forth insults. It's also interesting to note that Davis had previously shocked everyone during a press conference for his fight with Lamont Roach when he announced he would retire from boxing by the end of 2025. This raises the Davis plans to retire soon. Why does he care about such formalities? Like not being invited to the gala. This is not the first time Crawford has taken a dig at Davis, though, after Crawford's victory over Errol Spence Jr., which earned him undisputed status. He heard about Davis claiming he could beat Crawford if they fought at 147 pounds. An appearance on The Breakfast Club, Crawford responded to Davis's comments, acknowledging his skills but downplaying the idea of Davis beating him at 147 pounds. Crawford stated that there are different levels in boxing and, should Davis step up to that weight class, he would be in for a much tougher challenge than he might expect. While the prospect of a Davis-Crawford matchup may never come to fruition, Crawford is currently focused on his next fight with Canelo Alvarez. Though Terrence Crawford and Gervonta Davis are currently 3 divisions apart, they've fought in similar weight classes in the past. Crawford began his career at lightweight, the same division where Davis is now a world champion. Crawford went on to become undisputed at super lightweight, a weight class where Davis has also held a title. Crawford has since moved up to welterweight and even made his debut at 154 pounds last year, while Davis remains at 135, still dominating the lightweight division. Davis has previously stated that he would knock out Crawford, though it's unclear whether that claim was made seriously. Meanwhile, Crawford has warned Davis not to punch above his weight.
I mean, you came up from 35, right?
He ain't fighting no real guys at 47.
See, okay. What about, everyone's talking about Errol fighting.
While a fight between Crawford and Davis is highly unlikely to happen, some believe it would be an incredibly competitive matchup. Roy Jones Jr., a multi-division world champion, commented that the fight could be a great one, especially if it took place just under the welterweight limit. He noted that Davis's explosiveness could give him a fighting chance against Crawford, even though Crawford is a seasoned and highly skilled boxer. Jones pointed out that explosiveness is a key factor in boxing, and it could make for an exciting contest between the two.
If him and King fought at about 145, that's a good daggone fight, you understand me? Matter of fact, that's a good damn fight, you understand me? Because they both have very high IQs and Tank is very explosive. That's the one thing.
Both Crawford and Davis are continuing to pursue their own respective paths. Crawford is seeking a fight with super middleweight champion Canelo Alvarez, which would require him to jump up in weight by 14 pounds. Meanwhile, Davis is focused on his upcoming bout with Lamont Roach Jr. on March 1st, 2025, before likely retiring at the end of the year, as he stated in a recent press conference. Fans are eagerly awaiting Davis's next fight in Brooklyn, and if the fight goes as expected, his fans will be thrilled by his continued dominance in the sport.
If him and Tank fought at about 145, that's a good daggone fight, you understand me? Matter of fact, that's a good damn fight, you understand me? Because they both have very high IQs and Tank is very explosive. See, that's the one thing Tank got.
While Crawford versus Canelo is the fight many fans are waiting for, Gervonta Davis is now making waves by inserting himself into the conversation. The 2025 boxing schedule has some exciting matchups in store, with one of the most anticipated being the showdown between Shocker Stevenson and Gervonta Davis. This fight, which seemed all but confirmed, has been delayed, much to the frustration of Davis's co-trainer, Kenny Ellis, who accused Stevenson of avoiding the fight. Ellis pointed out that even if Stevenson wins his next fight, he'll find an excuse not to fight Davis, calling it a tactic to buy time. Fans will have to stay tuned to see how these rivalries unfold and what the future holds for these boxing stars.